Hello, boys and girls, and ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I say with boys and girls. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Before You Jump. Now, this is pretty cool. Before we go on, as we said in the last episode, we've got new microphones that are condenser microphones, and they pick up every single sound. And it is raining as like cats and dogs today, so you might get a bit of rain background noise, but I've turned down the gain, so hopefully that's not too bad. But sitting across from me is this very special guest who I've wanted on the show forever, and I've bugged him and bugged him and bugged him until he was finally like, Jesus, if I go, he'll leave me alone. So welcome Richard Dryden to the show.
Kia ora. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Man, it's been awesome. I've been wanting to get you on for ages, and every time we talk, I'm like, when are you going to come do it?
Yeah. I'm useless, like I am. I sit at home and I'm quite happy there.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I'm the same. That's why we record from my house.
Yeah. Fair. On a night like tonight too. Far out.
Yeah.
Man, I can barely find it.
Yeah. It's pretty cold, so we're rugged up in here. If you get real cold, we do have blankets. We've got a weighted one.
Oh, mean.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's so nice in winter because we'll come out here and record in winter, obviously.
Yes.
And that weighted blanket on your knees is just like, oh, it's lovely.
I found a blanket the other day. We were at a place, and it actually has, like, it's weighted, but it has kind of like, you know those balls at lollipops?
Yes. Yep.
Kind of like that. So when you lie on it, it's kind of all knobbly.
Oh, that would be so
But
good.
they do bean bags like that.
Yeah, wow.
You know?
Yeah. We almost bought a new beanbag today. We're a bit of beanbag obsessed here, to be honest.
It took me a long time to figure out how they work.
Beanbags?
Yeah.
Just fall in them.
Yeah, that's right. But, you know, you have to fall appropriately so you can actually do, you know.
Watch TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, my issue is getting out of them.
Yeah.
That is, I've had some days where I've just been
You
like,
just roll though, don't you? Like, that's my go-to.
when there's people here, I have to have my dignity. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, fair.
oh, the beach whale's trying to get up again. But we love it. Welcome to the show. This is awesome. So, Richard, you're a comedian.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if I'd necessarily say that.
Yes, you are. You've been doing it long enough where you could call yourself quite comfortably a comedian.
Yes.
You do it often enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a saviour in some ways.
Yeah.
Or rehabilitational at least.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a saviour.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah. You're a lot of things to a lot of people as well. So you're a comedian. You're a husband.
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah, I'm probably a better comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a dad. You're a family member. You're a counsellor, probably for a lot of people.
Yeah, and then I work in employment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So my trust in the disability sector, which is still the best thing I think I've done, which is ironic because I've had a lot of very cool jobs and cool careers prior.
And speaking of careers, you were a radio man.
I was
For a long time.
Yep, 15
Long time
years.
radio man, and you're a cancer survivor.
Yeah, among other things.
Yeah. Lots of health things. Before we went on air, me and Richard here were just comparing health notes. I was like, if Carol's was here, you guys could compare some real health stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's not a competition, but I think he would have me by quite a margin.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Like you said, it's not a competition, but I think you guys definitely share probably some ailments.
Commonalities.
Yeah, kidneys definitely.
Yeah. That's kind of what I just started the whole trip.
Yeah. We'll get to it. For those who are wondering where Cal's is, so Cal's is taking a break. As you know, he just got out of hospital, and he's just like, you got to do things one step at a time, so we're not pushing him every day. And this is my third podcast day in a row, which is amazing. Wow. I've never done 3 days in a row, and I was so happy when it worked out like that, unbelievably. So we had Erla and Therese here. So Erla, you probably haven't met. I'm sure you've met Therese.
Yeah, I have. Yep.
Heaps.
Yep.
So Erla's a friend of hers, and she's she's in her 20s. She's just recorded, not just recorded, I should say, 6 months ago. She recorded and released a song about anxiety.
Ah, I know. Yeah, cool.
And it's awesome. It's really good. I've listened to it last few days, and lyrically, I think it's really, really good. It's really powerful. So, and then we had Cal's yesterday, and then you tonight, which is cool. Although, as people listen, this one's going to come out in a few days.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yep.
just so we don't like jam up their downloads. So yeah, this is really exciting. 3 days in a row for me. I'm really, really pumped. If I could, I would do this every day.
Yeah.
Like comedy. Do you know what I mean? If I could do stand up and this every day.
Life would be good.
Oh my God. Yeah, it'll be amazing. I would do this during the day and just go do gigs at night.
Yeah.
If I could, and get paid what I get paid or more.
I've never thought about that, in terms of what I'd be doing if I wasn't, because don't know.
So if you won Lotto, would you quit your job?
No.
You love it?
No, yeah, yep.
That's cool, man.
I want to, my overarching aim for where I work, or the industry I work in, is that hopefully one day we'll get to the point where we talk about the person first and not their disability.
Oh,
so we'll talk about Jim, and not the fact that there's cerebral palsy. That Jim has cerebral palsy. It's like, oh, cerebral palsy. Oh, and there's Jim. No, it should be the other way around, because he's a human.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, you're totally right. And yeah, one day it'll be great. I think it is also the same for a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of things like that I wish we could just focus on the person and not the tag on.
Correct.
Of
Correct.
what it is, and do you know what I mean? Like,
Look, we all have stuff, right?
Oh, and that's it. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
People don't say, "Oh, look, here comes grumpy, cantankerous Richard." They say, "Oh, here's Richard."
Well, no, we do.
Most of my good friends, I am. I'm just, and it's just, I'm just a byproduct of 28 years of medicine. Who knows? Maybe I'm just naturally a grumpy. You know what?
Nah, you're always happy when I see you.
Yeah, but you talk to my wife and my kids,
Yeah.
I did breakfast radio for 15 years, right? Which you know, and like I have no idea how, in God's name, because I'm useless in the mornings, and yet I was getting up between 3:30 and 4:30 every morning.
Yeah, but you did it.
Yeah. And then you turn the switch on and be like, hey!
Yeah. But I find it's the same when I'm doing a comedy gig, man. I could be like low as, like with depression, or just in a bad mood.
Yep.
And just like horrible and all that sort of thing. And then you get to the gig and I'm in the spotlight and it's like, nah, let's do it.
Yep.
Rock and roll.
Yep.
Because that's the place where, and this is probably what it was for radio, is like, and I said this, like, I say this to people who come through and do the comedy course as well. It's like, that's the place where I don't have any pain. Like, emotionally, physically, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, no pain.
Got a job to do, though, too, haven't you?
Yeah, you do.
You know?
Yeah, oh, yeah, you got to do the mahi,
Yep.
you know? But it's like, nothing matters in those 6 to 50 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's right.
Nothing matters.
Yep.
Except for making them laugh.
Yeah, totally. Or if you've done your job properly, maybe they cry a bit too.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. To someone said to me the other day, "Oh man, so you went away and did some comedy out of town? That would have been like, that must be your." Oh, it was my shrink.
Yeah.
Because I need one.
Yeah.
And she's awesome, and that's probably another story as well. But is getting away and doing comedy, is that a release for you? And I'm like, well, yes and no, because there's actually the work that goes into it beforehand, and then there's the actual performance, and so there is actually, it's not just away you go.
Yeah.
For me at least, I don't know. I always put, although I'm getting better at streamlining the pre-gig stuff, so I don't have to work as hard. Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I hate the idea of writing, but I love when I'm writing.
Yeah, I still don't, that advice you gave us to try and write every day. I don't. I write when something comes to me.
To you. And that's fine. There's actually nothing wrong with it as long as things are coming. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
But I still try and book weekly slots to write. Do you know what I mean? And I hate the thought of it until I get into it. And I hate the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, so, I mean, if I went through, because I'm I'm not a real comedian because I do music, right? So,
no, you're still a comedian.
but I run
yourself.
two Word documents. One is Stream of Consciousness, which is just thought starters for
Brilliant.
for spoken jokes,
Yes.
and then I've got comedy songs, and I roll two Word documents, and
Yeah.
depending on where I'm at, and because my memory is so poked because of everything I've been
Yeah.
through, like I'll email myself. I mean, going to work the other day, I sang a little 3 or 4 lines that I will go back eventually and look at. So my email is full of thought starters, and then eventually, if I'm doing it properly, I'll take it from there into the Word document, and then try and work on that. But I'm very hit and miss. Like, I won't sit down and do it religiously.
Yeah. See, I've also changed the way I write as well. Like, I used to sit down and write a whole joke, right?
Yeah.
And I've done it before where I sat down and I was like, I'm going to challenge myself to write an hour. And so I was like, I sat down and I didn't write an hour, but I probably wrote a good 35 minutes.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? And no, you say, 15 minutes of it was usable.
Yeah.
Because that's the writing process. You go, no, that's shit. But it was a fun exercise. But now what I do is I do it a bit different. Whereas I'll come up with a premise or an idea or something, and I'll note that down, and then I'll just sort of sit there and think about it for however long my writing session is, half an hour is what I usually try and do. Half an hour, once a week. I'll just sit there and I'll just ponder them for a bit, and then I'll sort of start going, and this and this, and tacking it on in my head. And on my app I use Stander Upper. I'll start adding little bullet points to it, but I won't write it till I'm on stage. So when I'm on stage, I just do it, and I trust myself enough to go I know what the premise is, and I know where I want to go with it, and I know all the points I want to make, so I'm just going to fill it on the day. And I try and do that now. And that's led to really good success, except for one joke, which I cannot get to work whatsoever.
Oh, really? And is that the joke, or is it just the process hasn't quite been on point?
No, the joke. I've chopped and changed and altered and all that sort of thing. And 3 tries now, and the middle one was good, but the other 2 were bad. And I've done it differently every time.
Do you ever send something to someone and go, hey, what do you think about this?
No, because I don't write it.
Ah, of course, until you... Yeah.
I do still, every now and again, I'll send to one of 2 people, really.
Yeah.
But mostly to Nathan. I'll go, what do you think of this idea?
Yeah, sure.
Or is this going too far if I say this? The last thing I sent him was just literally a thought, which was, I want to learn ventriloquism. And then he just came back and was like, why? And I was like, because I have this weird idea that I want to do about a young boy who sings little dirty songs. And also because Nina Conti, who's a ventriloquist, and Monkey, that's her big, every ventriloquist has their main puppet, I guess. I was like, and Monkey are some of the funniest things I've ever seen. And I like that idea.
I'd love to try it just because I've never had a hand up my backside.
Yeah. Yeah. And he came back with a good point. He's like, it'll be funny if you don't do it well. Yeah. And I was like, that is funnier. He's like, if you never really learn to do it properly.
Well, it's like me and the ukulele.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I actually now,
I was going to say, you're getting pretty good at it.
Yeah, I pick it up every day.
Yeah.
So I now pick it up every day. I'm now at the point where I can play badly.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Yeah. It's funny, I was talking to Chris the other day, and because you guys obviously both play.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, we're kind of doing a bit of stuff together.
Yeah.
With Dueling Mangoes.
Yeah. And at the last gig I saw him and all that sort of thing, and even he kind of said the same thing. He's like, I'm starting to become a good bad player or something. He said something like that. And then he went on and did his set, and I was like, you're insane. You're actually getting really, really good. And I would imagine it's the same with you. If you're doing it every day, you must be getting... I know you are like a lot of us where you say, No, I'm not that good, but you're actually probably better than you think.
I think like the best piece of advice I ever got from a musical standpoint, because I love music. You know, I play the drums. You know, I've played the trumpet before they sliced my tongue out of my mouth, and it's hard. I can't do it anymore. It's physically impossible.
Yeah.
But I was always told that, you know, rather than making it a chore,
Yeah.
5-minute bite. I think it was. It might have been even Jennifer Moss, I think, that said it.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
5-minute bite-sized chunks. So I'll pick my ute up and I will I'll either chuck a CD on and play along to a song or something like that, or I'll just rehash some of my, shit comedy songs and just, or I'll work on something new.
Yeah. That's really cool. Jennifer Moss is awesome.
Oh, during lockdown, she sent me all sorts of stuff, and I did her, YouTube series, and it certainly made me a better player.
There you go.
And it's literally now just, I can do the reggae strum and all, because, as we know, I'm a reggae monster. I can do all that now, and that's just through practice.
Yeah. I like her, Like, when I first met her was when she had Shed 23.
Yeah. Yep.
And I walked in and I was like, this place is so cool. And then she gave me the tour of all her instruments and everything like that. And I was just blown away. I was like, this is so cool. And she's like, you should come to a drumming circle or something like that. And I was really humbled, but I can't play. I'm musically deaf.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you put on music now and you said tap out the beat, I would lose the beat within about 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't do it. And I know that. It doesn't upset me. It upsets me greatly. But do you know what I mean? Because everyone wants to be a great musician. But it's like, what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, she kind of blows me away sometimes with some of the cool things. Especially that day, because I was like, what is this? And she was like, oh, this is an African da-da-da. And then she'd just pick it up and just put out amazing sound.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, wow. And then she'll pick up a completely different instrument and do something completely amazing with that. And I was just like, anyway, we're going down the general. we're not here to talk about it. Let's talk about your tongue, man, because I'm sure this is an audio podcast. Are you cool to talk about that?
Yeah, like nothing's off the table.
So go through and explain, because I said earlier you had a radio career.
Correct.
Morning radio for a long time. Not just radio, like I know you've told me you used to MC events. Like you used to be a personality to come out and MC events, local events and that sort of thing, and do a whole bunch of different things like that. Let's do it this way. What's your medical journey? Because I think a lot of people will relate to it.
It's pretty checkered, so I'll do it pretty quickly.
A quick rundown.
So 6 weeks prem, twin brother died at birth. We locked, breech birth, all that sort of stuff, and they thought I would have brain damage. They may have been right, and so I never really grew. I guess at 12 they identified that I had renal issues, so kidney stuff, and I have to say that with all the stuff I've been through, I've also had a massive dollop of luck and good fortune. So there's someone or something, looking over me or looking after me, because they managed me to the point of no return. So thus far, I haven't had dialysis.
Yeah.
I'm pretty petrified of that scenario.
Yeah.
And so I had a kidney transplant at 17.
Wow.
And that kind of... It was almost obviously life-saving, but detrimental, because what it did was it was like, right, I've got this much time on the planet, so I'm going to rip shit and bust everything.
Wow, yeah.
And so I did. I've just gone Harry Hardnuts. And so I left, went through school and went to uni and did psych, and had always wanted to do radio.
Yeah.
Dropped out of radio, dropped out of psych. And I remember my parents being like, oh man, they were pretty disappointed that I dropped out. And then so I did radio for 15 years and ended up, winning a few awards and had the time of my life, but still going just Harry Hardnuts.
Yeah.
And, burned Oh no, I think one of the things about radio that, and one of the reasons I got out. So in the end, I got out because I just like my thing was always really, really real. So that was my radio ethos. So
Yeah.
the guy that you heard on the radio was the guy you saw in the supermarket, was the guy you saw at the pub, right?
Sure.
Same guy,
Yeah.
no difference. I got sick of the ego, and not. I tried to keep myself really grounded, but in the end, I was sort of, succumbing to that to a point as well. And so I was just like, I'm straying from my values. How strong a language can I use on your podcast?
Oh, you can say anything.
So I was becoming a cunt, frankly.
Yeah.
And so I'd split up with my then girlfriend, and I went back to the renal unit and said, look, I'm not in a particularly good space. And so one of the beautiful things about being half dead is that, they like I was able to get a shrink.
Yeah.
And so I've been seeing her on and off for 10 years, I guess.
Wow.
And not all the time, maybe every now and then it might be once a year. Back in there at the moment.
Yeah.
Just because there's stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I had the kidney transplant and went like a bull at the gate, and got out of radio, went into some marketing and stuff, and I found a lump on my tongue. And I'd actually, funnily enough, I'd booked a trip overseas, so I'd never done my OE. So I was going to see my auntie in Switzerland. I was going to Venice for Christmas. I was going to the Guinness bloody factory in Ireland. I was 6 weeks out of Aotearoa, and I found a lump on my tongue. And I'd only just met the woman who's now my wife. We'd met at the start of that year, and I'd said to her, look, I'd already booked the trip. I've booked the trip. I've just become serious. It's all good. I'm very loyal. Unless I meet Irish girls, which is still a source of discomfort for her, but great satisfaction for everyone else that takes the mickey out of me.
Yeah.
And so then I found a lump on my tongue, went to the doctor, and it wasn't my normal GP. He's like, it's probably an ulcer. So me thinking it's probably, I didn't know that ulcers are meant to go in 2 weeks. And so I sat on it for about 4 months.
Yeah. And was it painful?
No.
It was just a lump.
Yeah, didn't seem to grow. It was under my tongue. And I got to probably October, and it was still there. I was like, probably might have been start of October. Better do something about this, because I was flying out in November. So they sent me went back to the GP, same guy that probably, and he didn't, in fairness, didn't misdiagnose. I don't want to put that on the table, but I think that if it had been my normal GP, knowing because with a kidney transplant, so your immune system's here, and mine's down there on the floor, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I get everything way easier.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily easier, but if you get the flu, you're usually over it within 3 to 4 days, right? If I get the flu, I don't necessarily get it easier than you. It takes me about 7 to 12 days to get over it.
Okay.
So long story short, went into the specialist, and he looked at my mouth and said, look, before we're going to biopsy it, before we do, you need to know that it's highly likely it's cancer. I was like, far out. That was just like a boom, because I didn't think about that. That was never on the radar. So it was cancer of the tongue, and so I didn't go overseas. So no Irish girls, no tour of the Guinness factory, but one day. And my priorities are different now. My wife, kids, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what was meant to be sort of 7 to 9 days in Lower Hutt ended up being, I think, 3.5 weeks. I was in a induced coma for 11 days.
Wow.
And pretty close to not coming back.
Yeah.
So they told me, I don't know, mate. I was having a little bit of a moy.
Yeah.
But it was odd. That whole thing was odd because so and the operations were odd. I remember, so I walked down the hallway of Lower Hutt Hospital with the anaesthetist. He's like, this will be a piece of cake, mate. Walk in the park. So told me what they were going to do. So it was a 9-hour operation. Originally, and so what they do was that they obviously cut the cancer out with a good margin, and then they fold the cheek tissue over, because that's similar tissue to the tongue.
Yeah.
But it didn't take So then they had to go back in and cut the dead piece of flesh out because blood was flowing in but not out. So,
Okay. Yeah.
But then my lungs collapsed and I got pneumonia.
God.
And so in the end they were going to wake me up after they cut my tongue out, and my family and my wife were like, well, she wasn't my wife at that stage.
Yeah.
And she should have run away, really. I said to her at the time, I was like, go, you don't need, you got 2 young girls, you don't need to stick around for this shit.
Yeah.
Go. Like, we've been together 8 months, and we're now, we're 8 years at the end of the week.
Wow, jeez.
There's something not
Amazing.
right with him. But yeah, so they ended up cutting that dead piece of meat out, essentially, and then going with the one from my arm.
Yeah.
But in between times, they put a trachea in so I could breathe, and it was,
Yeah.
But yeah, and when I woke up, I thought I was in Melbourne. I had no idea where I was.
Wow.
And people were visiting me. I'm like, fuck, this is cool, man. They've flown all the way to Melbourne to see me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep. It was pretty horrendous, and I remember them giving me sleeping tablets, and I remember waking up and having, like, looking down on myself going, oh, look at Richard, he's pulling his tubes and shit out.
Yeah.
And Richard was pulling all his tubes out, which, I was in ICU at the time. So I have issues sleeping now. Like, more if I wake up, I can't get back to sleep, but I will not touch any sleeping tablets again.
Yeah, fair enough.
So there, I guess... So after that, then you have the radiotherapy and stuff.
Yep.
Couldn't have chemo because of the kidney transplant.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
And it's not even if and when, because, a year later I got thyroid cancer. So when it comes back, like when they discharged me from oncology, they said, we'll see you again. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And so I guess, when it comes back, chemo's not on the table. So that's potentially worrying, I guess, but I don't have time for that.
No, you won't about it then.
The best thing about cancer, and there's been lots of things, and I guess to preface before I get to that, I'd finally got to 37 years old. I was comfortable with myself. I dropped I was 88 kgs, which for my height I was far too round. It wasn't good for the health of my kidney or my health, and so I was physically and mentally in the best space I'd ever been in prior to getting diagnosed. I was comfortable with who I was, and I'm back at that space now. I think I've been comfortable probably for the last year and a bit with the new Richard.
Yeah.
I played someone the other day me trying to speak when I was in hospital. And now I've got a lisp in my speech. It doesn't like it when it's cold. My tongue goes nah. Not going to talk. If I've had a couple of drinks, my tongue goes nah, because you'll know that I don't drink before I go on stage.
Yeah. No, I've never seen you drink before.
Because it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. But I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah.
And the one thing that cancer did.
Yeah.
Was that it actually got me to slow down. So I'd been at a bull at a gate for 20 odd years, and then got cancer, and what? Slow down and appreciate shit.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh man, so does it make you grateful? Are you a better person? Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm real grateful to be here. And again, there's something or someone, looking over me, but I'm still a grumpy shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm the best person on the planet. I try really hard to be. I like to think I'm kind, but I'm a grumpy shit. I'm impatient at times.
Yeah.
I'm a frail human, and I talk to my kids about that all the time. I'm a frail. I'm frail in terms of physically, but I have my stuff, and I'm aware of that. I'm reflective on that.
Yeah.
But I'm real grateful to be here, and but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I try not to, if I'm not right, I reach out to my shrink.
Yeah.
I run. I used to go to the gym, but COVID and me aren't necessarily going to end
Not
well.
good friends, yeah.
So I started running. I fucking hate running.
Yeah.
But I did. So I've been doing it for about a year.
Is that right?
I think, and I've been slack. Like I go through fits and bursts. I was clocking up about 25 k's a week in term. Then that was usually three runs.
Yeah.
The most I've run in one go is 16 k's.
Wow.
But I know why. I have a loose goal to run a half marathon, but that's very loose.
But it's still a goal.
Yeah.
You can make it as loose as you want. It's still there. I mean,
but I love it. I love running. I really enjoy it.
Is that right?
It's been very good for my. I need for me to be ungrumpy and I need exercise.
Yeah.
And I need music and space and I guess.
Yeah. And when you got your diagnoses, when you got your cancer diagnosis, like you'd already been seen to shrink. So was that like how did that impact your mental health? Was it big, or had the shrink given you the tools, or some tools at least, to help you cope? Or
I was like, oh yeah, sweet, yeah. Like when he was talking to me, so the day I was told I had it, day I was told I had it, I didn't even make it into his office. He's like, it's cancer. I was like, fuck.
Can I sit down at least? Yeah.
And so my mum and my dad and Casey were there with me, and I was like, oh yeah, sweet, yep, cool, yep, sweet. And then as soon as that was over, I was out, and I walked off at a power walking rate of knots, and my whānau were like, and they were just like, oh, just let him go. I went back to the shrink. But no, I don't feel sorry for myself. Like it just is what it is, right? Some people are dealt those hands. My psychologist has actually said to me, have you ever taken time to feel sorry for yourself? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have fucking time for that. She goes, I think you actually need to take time to feel sorry for yourself at some stage. And I guess I will one day. Like, I don't know. It is what it is. I can't change it. And so I can end up in the corner there crying and going, oh man, my life sucks.
Yeah.
Or I can try and make the best of the situation, knowing full well. So when they diagnosed it, it was trying really hard not to be cancer, right? But because of the immune system, it is what it is. So, heart attack, stroke, more cancer, that's all, in the journey somewhere. Who knows when. And that doesn't mean I'm not scared. I just try not to focus on it because, I've got other shit to do. I've got 2 girls to raise. I've got a wife to try and be a husband for. I've got work. I've got, so you just get on. And that's just me. Doesn't, and again, I just get on with life. And but I'm still an asshole. And not like, I don't do it on purpose. I just, it just is, I guess.
It's just who you are.
28 years of taking, immunosuppressants, mood altering drugs and all that sort of stuff. I guess that just, that's just who I am. It's kind of, I guess, a little bit in the family makeup. Like my, grandfather, I don't think was the nicest man on the planet, but I'm not.
Sure.
I'm not unnice either. Like my whole thing is to try and be nice to people. I'm horrendous in the mornings.
Not a morning person.
No, and I'm somewhat impatient, but that's where kids have been awesome because they teach you shit.
Oh yeah.
Every day.
Oh yeah.
I love my life. I'm not bitter about what's happened. And if I hadn't had tongue cancer, I wouldn't be working in the industry that I'm working in. I never would have done comedy. And so it is what it is. I remember sitting in the meeting the surgeon, and the guy that diagnosed me, he was awesome. He's like, right, you're going to go in and see the surgeon now. You need to know he's a dickhead. And he was. I said to him, look, mate, I used to work in radio. I do heaps of emceeing. How badly is my speech going to be affected after this? He's like, get a new job. I fucking hated him for that. And I made it my goal to prove him wrong. I've done voice tests with More FM. Post cancer. I have no ambition to get into radio. I loved it, but that was then. This is now.
Do podcasting, mate. So much better. Because I've done both, and I know which one I prefer.
It's interesting, but I've seen him since. Actually, I saw him for because stuff comes up all the time,
Oh,
being
yeah,
a medical
yeah.
misfit. And I said, I told him I hated you for a long time, but you know, I don't hold on to that. I probably am a bit grudgy.
Yeah.
I probably sulk a bit.
But isn't it? I find with a lot of doctors, sometimes they have to be that brutal.
Yeah, totally.
Because if they sugarcoated it and then we're wrong, suddenly they're the bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying he wasn't, but do you know what I mean? Like, at least it was he told you the truth.
Yep.
You know.
And ironically, he didn't end up doing a surgery. A lady did it, and I remember
Yeah.
being in her office, and she's telling us all about the surgery, and
Yeah.
my sister's behind me, and she's
Yeah.
I'm like, the fuck are you crying for? It's not your tongue they're cutting out.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
I have half a tongue. It's, as we know, it's impacted my wife way more than me, probably. And it has hair on it.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Yeah.
And you know what? The anaesthetist, when I was in ICU and a wait walked past, he's like, "Oh, good luck shaving your tongue." And I couldn't talk at that point, so I just went like that and flipped the bird, thinking he was taking the mickey. And you know what? With everything I've been through, we were sitting in Turangi at Burger King. I think it was prior to starting radiotherapy, and my wife's like, you've got hair on your tongue. I was like, shut up, I do not. She's like, no, legitimately you do. And it was that.
Wow.
That just about broke me.
Wow.
Don't know why. Now I don't care. Like, well, when it rubs on the roof of my mouth, I know to pluck it.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Yeah, you just build it into your life.
Can't do anything about it.
No, I just got to deal with it.
But funny what, can be that create the crack in the porcelain, so to speak.
Yeah. Comedy. Like, you walked into comedy. I can't remember if I ran the course you're on.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
Did I?
So it was you. I think it was you and Nathan and Tito, actually.
Yeah, that probably sounds right.
Yeah. But see, I wouldn't have done, like, my wife pushed me into that. She's like, go and do stand-up. I'm like, no, I'm not funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm situationally funny. I can handle with my mates and stuff, the banter and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And I did, and it was awesome.
Yeah. So you walked into comedy, and it was so interesting to see this guy who had radio experience and all that sort of thing come in. And when you've been doing comedy, I'm sure Tito's probably said this perhaps to you, when you've done comedy for quite a while, which I've done now, I've been doing it for quite a while, you do tend to spot people or you meet people and you're like, they would be good.
Yeah.
And you were the ones who came in and were like, I'm Richard, here's my story. Half a tongue, was a radio DJ and all this stuff. And just in that little snippet alone, where I was like, yeah, this guy will do well. Do you know what I mean? Because there's certain types that just take to it. Do you know what I mean? And it was quite funny because when you first started as well, you used to send me heaps of your stuff.
Yeah. I was,
constantly, which doesn't bother me, by the way.
Yeah.
It never once bothered me because you're never in a rush to get it back. You're always like, when you can, look at this. And so I was always like, okay. And sometimes I could look at it right away and other times I couldn't. And I remember after a while, I was like, dude, you don't have to send this to me anymore. You got it.
I'm still not sure I have.
No one ever does. I still write. I still think about jokes today. I'm like, I don't know about this. Oh, geez. And then I do it. And I'm like, why did I question? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I should trust my instincts that if this is good, it's fine. But yeah, it's quite cool. One of the things I love about teaching comedy is that I love to watch people's journey from like introducing themselves to where they are, wherever they are. But did obviously your partner pushed you into doing it. You're obviously a bit reluctant.
Yeah, I just I didn't think I was funny. Stand up for 6 minutes, funny.
Yeah.
And it turns out I go okay.
And
really
okay. Yeah.
It's been so because radio, MCing.
Yeah.
But so prior to getting out of it, so prior to this, my tongue had done something like 20,000 hours of speaking. Right, it was literally what made me my money.
Yeah.
In my old life, and it was a massive part of what I did, and it was the performance part. Like I love the performance. I'm a creative, so I need an outlet of sorts. So I write a lot of poetry.
Yeah.
I do photography, although I haven't picked up my camera for a while, and I need to, because that's very cathartic for me as well. Like, because it actually takes me out of my head.
Yeah.
I overthink shit chronically.
Yeah. Yeah.
But comedy's been like it really has been awesome, because it's allowed me to, and it's been part of the rebuild of and rebirth, I guess, of me as a person, and becoming comfortable with the new version of Richard, the version that lisps and all that sort of stuff, which is ironic, because I used to take the piss out of teachers that had lisps, and well, hello, karma, and that's cool.
Yeah.
So, like, I've loved it, I do love it. I've started emceeing a lot more in terms of comedy emceeing. I was going to say I prefer it. It's not necessarily that I prefer it, but I'm very comfortable. I guess that's...
I'm the same with you.
Yeah.
If somebody said to me, do you want to do a 20-minute headline or MC, I'll pick MC every time.
Look, I had this conversation with Ben the other day. I still don't think I am headline material. And I have no real... and funnily enough, this year I've headlined a couple of shows, and it's been awesome, and I went okay, but I'd rather MC, I think.
Yeah, me.
To be honest,
I'm the same.
Although in fairness, I don't care about that either. Like, if you want to put me, if there's 6 people on and you're putting me on second or second to last or whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, stage show.
I just I'm for me, this is always I don't want to be I don't want to be the next big thing. I have no ambition to to win a Billy G award, which is funny, because I in radio I wanted to be the best. And not at the cost to anyone else. I just wanted to be the best, and I've always driven really hard. And I still it's something I talk to my shrink about often, is about lowering my expectations, because I'm guilty of putting my expectations on other people at times, like to the point of who stepped a fucking dishwasher like that, but dialed all that down, and I'm just enjoying the ride.
That's awesome.
I love comedy's been very good. Like, it's been because it got me back to being comfortable. It got me back into performance, and it's actually been exceptional for the rehab of the tongue.
I was going to bring that up, because it's like that first day I met you. It was, I mean, you spoke fine, but you did have to listen. And that compared to now is just so different. Have other people said that to you?
Yeah, I met someone the other day, and they're like, "Man, your speech is way better than what it was." And I'm like, I don't think it is. Because I'm notoriously lazy in terms of my speech. I always have been. And so, I work hard at it. It is. It is what it is, I guess. I'm just grateful that I can be understood now. I connected with a few people around the world that have had tongue cancer, and their speech is nowhere near mine. But I'm also stubborn, very stubborn.
That's true.
And I have if you tell me I can't do something. So my first radio boss told me I'd never do breakfast radio. Ever. Because I was too energetic. So I did breakfast radio, and I won radio awards, and
too energetic. I would have thought that's when you want that.
Yeah, that was in the early 2000s, I guess, and radio was, which is not that long ago, but it was different. So
we're going to play a game.
Cool.
All right, here we go. I haven't done this with many guests, but I think you're going to be good at this. It's a series of questions that's going to determine. It's called "Are You a Piece of Shit?" Right?
Yes.
Here we go. Now, there's no wrong answers.
Good.
Okay.
Am I saying the first thing that comes to mind?
No. You're answering the questions I give you.
So, honestly?
Yeah.
Okay.
As honest as you want to be. Have you ever gone through a drive-thru and then just eaten in the car park?
No.
No. Oh, good man. Good man. I can't stand that.
No.
I can't stand it. Okay. Ever given a note denomination to a homeless person or a busker?
No.
No?
I don't think I have.
Good.
I don't know if I have or not. No, I don't think I have.
No. See, it's one of those hard ones. As much as you want to help people, you also don't want to set a precedent.
Correct.
Uh,
I mean, my kids are probably homeless, so I've given them notes. But
yeah, that's true. They don't technically own a home.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you keep misbehaving, you will have no host.
Yeah.
Here's $5, though.
At a restaurant, have you ever ordered something off the menu but made them put something on the side or change an ingredient?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have?
Yeah.
Anything that comes to mind?
So if I go to Lone Star,
Yeah.
I'll just say, yeah, can I have the whatever the meat is?
Yeah.
And the buffalo chips. No, I don't want the lettuce because
Oh,
I can't eat it. It's too hard.
Fair call. Okay.
You know, lettuce and rice.
That's not so bad.
My first meal when I was actually allowed to eat in hospital. Once I was gone from ICU up to the plastics unit was mince. They feed me mince. I couldn't move my fucking tongue.
Yeah.
Like my wife, she's
Yeah.
my wife now. This must have been why I asked her. Had to stoop with her finger down the back of my teeth to pull the mince out because I couldn't manoeuvre it.
Yeah.
And then she went to the toilet and vomited because she was so grossed out.
God, she's still married you, mate.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Have done well.
I have.
Because she is lovely.
I'm a hard man to live with.
Yeah. What's your go-to supermarket?
Oh, that's interesting because I, at the moment, probably Pack and Save.
Yeah.
And that is for a couple of, like they were, you know, during COVID, their online ordering was naff, actually, if I'm honest. But and Countdown were awesome, and Countdown is close to where I live. But I think for what we need as a family, Pack and Save just do it better.
Fair. Yeah, I hear that a lot. As a family, we prefer Pack and Save, but individually.
And they, you know, from a work, like we've got a few people that they've taken on board because I do employment for a job, right?
Sure.
So
yeah.
it's, you know. It's about paying it forward as well. So hey,
True.
Thank you so much. Here's what I can do for you.
Yeah,
which is like
fair enough.
You know.
See, we use Countdown, but only because I will only eat one brand of peanut butter.
Oh really? Which one?
Home brand.
Ah, got you.
That's the only peanut butter I like.
Really?
I mean, I'll eat it. I mean, at a pinch.
Smooth
I'll eat
or crunchy?
Don't care. Right now at work, I have smooth, but in the house I have crunchy. I don't care. But if it's home brand peanut butter, I will eat it straight from the jar.
Really?
Yeah, and what's funny is people are like, oh, but, you know, this one's better. I'm like, have you ever looked at the ingredients of home brand peanut butter? 90% peanuts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, it is legit proper peanut butter.
I can eat it in a sandwich, but if you put a spoon of peanut butter in my mouth, probably crunchy rather than smooth, I'd still be chewing and sucking on it at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Oh,
that's my dream. Anyway, don't give me something on peanut butter. I friggin' love it. Okay, sorry, I had to reread how I wrote this. When you're parking your car, if you park on or just a little over the line, but there's no one else around you, you know, for quite some distance, do you still adjust your parking?
Not always, no. Most of the time.
Richard.
Most of the time.
Do you wee in the shower?
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fold or scrunch?
Nah, fold. I used to scrunch, but fold.
It's a more thorough job.
Yeah.
Fold, yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the last food you had delivered?
Last food we had delivered would be pizza, probably.
Yeah.
It's not the last fast food we had, but last
thing you had delivered to the house was pizza.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Hey, that was fun. You pass. Not that there's a pass, but good answers. I got two more things to ask you.
Sure.
We've got a new thing where we ask people, every guest that's come on, I'm going to ask them this question.
Cool.
Being a mental health podcast, do you ever, you know, when you're having those days where you just like, your mental health is low, you can't get out of bed. Do you know what I mean? Like getting out of bed is, forget it. It's not happening.
Don't have them.
You don't have them.
I did when I went through because I was off work for about a year and a half after, because I had the tongue cancer and then the radiotherapy and then I had to rehab from that, and then when I was coming back from that got diagnosed literally a year later with the thyroid cancer, and so then had to go through that surgery and then no bastard would hire me. Like I applied for 72 jobs. And there were days that I didn't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Then, and bed's always been my safe place. Bed and my ukulele and
Yes,
poetry and stuff like that. But I'm probably going to jinx myself, but I'm a robust human
Yeah.
in that respect. So my body is falling to pieces around me.
Yeah.
But in terms of mental health, I guess I've built resilience over the years. Like,
Wow.
shit happens.
Yeah.
Life isn't easy. And so you have a choice. You don't. I had a choice, so
Yeah.
I can go over there and curl up in a ball, or I
Yeah.
can just get on with it. So I just get on with it.
Yeah.
That's not downplaying what people go through. It's just
Yeah.
that I have built resilience. I've got stuff in place to make sure that if I don't get exercise, if I'm not playing my ukulele, if I don't have a bourbon from time to time,
Yeah.
then I will become an asshole.
Yeah.
And my mental health will suffer,
Deteriorate,
but
yeah.
not. I'm pretty lucky in that
resilient that
respect.
Okay, let me ask a question a different way. Is there a song? Do you have a go-to song to get you going, to motivate you? Like when you're like, I need that little bit more, or this was a bad day and I need to hear that go-to anthem.
Yeah, that's a hard one to ask me because I'm a musical human. I have I have so much music and so many. I guess at the moment the song that is on repeat is a song called "Love Struck" by Madness.
Okay, right, it's going on the playlist.
And it's just it's that reggae star feel. But I listen to all sorts of music. I will so when I go to bed at night, I put my earbuds in, and I generally drift off to sleep with music playing, which they don't advise, but I do.
Oh, don't they? God, I do it all the time.
And I wake up, at 1 o'clock going, oh fuck, what was that?
Yeah.
Music is a massive thing for me.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
Right.
Love Struck is on the playlist.
Cool.
What I want to do is get my playlist so it's got everyone's songs on it.
Nice.
And that way, eventually, when we have a party or whatever, and people come over, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I love. One more thing.
Yes.
At the end of every episode,
Yep.
we give a bit of advice. And the advice has to start with before you jump. Which is essentially saying before you quit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there a before you jump piece of advice that you want to give to the listeners?
Man, this is where you need to give me prep, eh?
Yeah, I don't want to because I like people to be on the spot and have to really
and a bit of awkwardness.
Ponder it.
That's before you jump, just ask, talk to someone and whether it's at the higher end of before you jump or whether it is before you quit something, talk to someone, man. Like, reach out.
Yeah.
Because you just never know. That conversation may just steer you in a different direction.
Yeah.
It may send you to cricketing stardom. It may send you to a new job. It may stop you from legitimately jumping. Right.
Yeah.
But talk.
But
I know. Everyone says, talk. But talk.
I agree. That's how this podcast started.
Yep.
Someone reached out.
Yeah.
And we talked.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yep. I mean, Mike King's not wrong, mate. He's not wrong.
No. That man hasn't been wrong for a long time.
Yep.
Richard Dryden, if people want to find you to do comedy, where do they find you?
Just search Richard Dryden Comedian on Facebook.
And it's worth searching because you also post your poetry, I should say, and some photography. You kind of post a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
you post your life, really.
Yeah. It's boring as batshit probably for a lot of people.
Yeah. It's good for your friends. I love it.
It's just look. I want people to have fun because we live in a world that is, at times notoriously unfun.
Yeah.
Probably.
Awesome. I've got a challenge for you.
Yes.
That I've been wanting to do with you for a long time.
Yes.
Think of a photography project and we'll go do it.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
I've got a couple people actually who have been like, next time you want to go do, because I've gotten into this idea of doing projects, photography projects, where we pick a subject and we go crazy over it for a few weeks.
My 35 to 75 mil lens has shat itself. And so I've only got my 75 to 300, and I just haven't pulled my finger out to replace the little one.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what we could do is think of a project where we can use that lens, and I've got a...
Probably get us arrested.
Think of a better project. Yours, what did you say, 75 to 300?
Yeah.
Mine's smaller, but it's something to 200.
Yeah.
25 to 200 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, similar idea, different focals. But if we both come up with something cool, we should go do that.
Couple.
And I know I got someone else I'll tell you off here who wants to go do it with me.
Nice.
As well.
I'm useless. I am. I love my work, and I love comedy and all that sort of shit. But I'm a homebody too. I will sit at home and play Minecraft.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to message Casey and be like, have Richard ready on this day at this time, and I'm going to come and get him.
And should be. I mean, she's like, I don't know about you, but my wife is very good for me.
Oh, you have no idea. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. Richard, thanks for coming. It's been a pleasure, and I think we should do this when Cal's as well.
All
right. Thanks, everyone.